Ryan Burrow, ABC News correspondent, joins us from Chicago. Mr. Former Governor of Illinois, Rod Blagojevich, seeking a commutation of his sentence from President Obama.
Yeah, and it's interesting. This is the only authority that President Obama has. He can't pardon Rod Blagojevich, but he can reduce the sentence, claiming that if he deems that the punishment was too harsh. A lot of people think that 14 years for corruption and a crime that he didn't actually commit but had talked about possibly committing was a little harsh. Rod Blagojevich doesn't have a lot of friends because he burned a lot of bridges as a politician and during the court case. I mean, he continued to fight the charges, never apologized, never admitted any wrongdoing, and as a result got that really harsh sentence of 14 years. He's 4 years into it right now, and he sees President Obama as an opportunity kind of on his way out to commute that sentence and get him out. 23 days left in the Obama administration. It is important to note two things. First of all, he and the president were not exactly buddy-buddy. We know they hung around in the same circles as Democrats in state legislature and from the Chicago area. But President Obama really hasn't talked about Rod Blagojevich since taking office 8 years ago when kind of all of this went down. And number two, he actually does have a relationship with President-elect Donald Trump. You may remember in 2010, he appeared on Celebrity Apprentice. Now, he was fired by Trump, but at the time, Trump actually credited Blagojevich for his fight in the criminal case, at one point saying, "You have a hell of a lot of guts." So maybe there's respect from Donald Trump, maybe an opportunity for Donald Trump to commute the sentence as well.
Is there any indication that the president is seriously considering this effort?
None at all. None at all. So, obviously he's in Hawaii right now. He's going to wrap up his break and, just a few weeks to go left in that presidency. He's going to go back to Washington, D.C., start packing up and head out. So we don't know. We know that he has been commuting a lot of sentences for drug-related crimes. We've been getting those reports, essentially monthly. But this is not a drug-related crime. This is political corruption. And a lot of people take that very, very seriously, especially here in Illinois where, it's been rampant not only in Chicago but statewide.
It has been rampant, and again, it should be taken very seriously. On the other hand, as you said, 14 years for playing politics in a city that, it's a profession almost. That does seem a little long.
It does, and there are some grumblings. But on the other hand, too, there's something to be said for having friends who will vouch for you, and there just don't seem to be those people, the Blagojevich supporters in Chicago or in Illinois or anywhere around the country, who are siding with him. He's a guy who fought to the bitter end, and he continues that fight. And, while there's a lot of sympathy, especially for his wife Patty and his two girls who were young girls when he went in and are now teenagers, that they're growing up without a father, that's difficult for a lot of people. But the respect and love is for the family. It's not necessarily for Rod. So it's kind of an interesting scenario. No one really feels a lot of sympathy for him as much as they do for the actual prison sentence and the family itself.
Right. Any other information regarding whether the president is going to issue commutations for others? Anyone on the list of interest?
No. We'll see in the coming days. We know that President Obama has talked, and we've seen with the drug charges and the commuting of sentences that way. He wants to get less small criminals or drug offenders. He wants to get them out of the prisons and put the hardened criminals, keep them behind bars because there is a lot of overcrowding, obviously, especially at county prisons. So we'll see how many more he signs off on. We don't really know of anyone else kind of that the Justice Department is looking at or is handed over to the White House. But we'll keep an eye on it.
Very good. Ryan Burrow, ABC News correspondent from Chicago. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It is 7:26 KTRS. Looking at the picture of Rod Blagojevich, his hair, his
totally
kind of his thing was the Blagojevich hair, and it was always jet black, and it was always coiffed neatly and held in place with, I'm sure, a lot of product. And boy, they don't give you those amenities in prison.
He has a lot of hair still, but it's all gray.
All gray, and
it'll be interesting. I agree with Ryan. I'm sure that odds are like less than 1%. that he will get a commutation from Obama. But who knows? It could happen with Donald Trump, since, as Ryan noted, he was on Celebrity Apprentice.
And, there's something to be said for, being on the Celebrity Apprentice.
Yes.
728 KTRS, the Big 550.
Hi, this is Jeff Lapidus, a retirement coach.